as soon as we can. We're now pleased to be joined on the call by the head coach at UAlbany, Jared Ambrose. Good morning, Coach Ambrose.
Good morning, guys. Hold on one second. I'm computer deficient. There we go. I'm good.
We got you. 34-7 loss at Iowa, but a game that you guys certainly showed very well. You're up 7-3 in the second quarter, 17-7 game at half. How pleased were you with the way your team performed in that stage?
I was proud of our guys. I thought they battled for 60 minutes, but nonetheless, we're 0-1. And that doesn't change with who you're playing. You can measure your competition a number of ways, but you're trying to get the same results. So, but I am proud of our guys. There was no quitting them. There was no, they didn't fear the stage or the opponent, and they played a full 60 minutes, and we played pretty disciplined football. So there's a lot to build on, but like Coach Cal said, your improvements come whenever you take them, but from week 1 to week 2, it seems to be the biggest one. So looking forward to see what we can put in work-wise this week.
Question this morning from Mark Stenglis. Good morning, Mark.
Morning. How you doing, Jared?
Good morning, Sunshine. How you doing?
Everybody calls me that.
I know.
So you were the play caller on Saturday, right, Jared?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, what was it like balancing? I know you've done it plenty of times, but what was it like balancing that with your duties as a head coach?
I had to do it in that random Hawaii game, Mark. And it didn't seem like a tall task, to be honest. I got a really good defensive coordinator in Bill Nessel, and I trust him a lot, to do his job, and he's done it at a high level for a while. So, there's back and forth between he and I, in between series and whatnot. But I felt like it, something that I can, improve upon. I'm always trying to get better at everything. But, it wasn't that tall of a task. I was all right with it.
Is that something you're still doing because of the interim status? It's like more urgent for you to maybe do it yourself this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I got a staff full of, not just coaches, but wives and children. And, calling plays is what got me in this position. So being the interim head coach, I felt like it was the responsible thing to do. And, that's where we are.
Understood. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Jared, when you face a Big Ten opponent on the road in that type of environment, what is the biggest thing you feel like you learned about your team in that game?
That they're willing to compete a bit against anybody, regardless. People were talking about Iowa as a potential college playoff team going into the preseason. And, you're kidding yourself if you think young people aren't looking into all that stuff. And our guys, just blocked it out, said, I can only do my 111th play to play, and they did it. And, we didn't get the result we want, like I said, but, there's no doubt in my mind our guys are going to battle whoever we play.
Let's talk a little bit about that offense that you were calling. Jack Shields gets the start at quarterback, 13 of 26, 134, threw a touchdown, didn't turn the ball over with an interception, and also ran for 30 yards. How did you feel like he performed?
Performed well, and thanks to Mark put out a stat that's almost identical to Reese Poffenberger's stats against Baylor on his first start for us. But talking about Jack, I felt like Jack operated well. There's a couple things he was beating himself up about after the game, which you want out of your players, good or bad. If they play a good game, you still want to find the warts in it. But Jack showed our guys exactly, he could be exactly who we thought he was. He went out there, he led the guys, he put them in situations that were good. He protected the football, and it's exactly why Jack won the starting job for us.
That drive that put you up in the second quarter, 9 plays, 68 yards, was very impressive. What went so well in that drive, and then and what did maybe Iowa adjust to from that point on?
Really, we were getting the ball on target. Josiah Barron had a couple big catches in that drive. Caden Birdie had a big catch, and we knew one of the keys to victory for us in this game where we were going to have to make the plays when they were there to make. And the catches that we made to get down the field into the end zone and the touchdown itself were great plays by those guys. And really, I think the tail of the tape in the second half was Iowa did a better job taking away some of the opportunities we had to make big plays. So, the drive was a good mix of run pass, just made some big plays. And if we can do that, we can be a pretty decent offense.
As you touched on, you got several good performances from receivers. It was a little tougher in the running game? Was that more just obviously Iowa is been known as one of the top defensive teams in the country for a number of years. Was that the cause of the running game maybe struggling a little bit? It was more the opponent than what you guys were doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, year in, year out, Iowa's D-line has one of those Bruce Feldman football freaks on it, and I think they had two this year. And they're good front to back, and they're physical. Everybody thinks they're the strongest team in the world, which they're very strong, but they're also very athletic up front. O-line and D-line, and we knew whenever you play those games. When I was at Towson, we had 5 fifth-year seniors. That was probably the only pay-up game where I felt like it was equal to we had an advantage to run the ball. And I had 3 guys go up in the portal, 3 O-linemen from last year that were capable and eligible to come back and play. And when you lose depth or experience at that position, and you're playing guys that don't lose that depth and experience, you're working uphill a little bit. To Coach Parker, what he said after the game was he thought we ran the ball better than what he expected. And I said, I don't know if that's a slap in the face or a compliment, but I'll take it.
Got a follow up from Mark. Go ahead, Mark. Hey, Jared, sunshine back here. Do you you're facing another first-year coach this weekend, Deshaun Jackson of all people. From what you've seen of the Delaware State-Delaware game, how do you think he's doing getting his team into form in his first season?
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, his guys were riled up and ready to play. You can see it on film. They're playing with passion and excitement. And I've had the opportunity to coach against Del State at other schools before, and I have a tie to the guys at Delaware still with my experience there. So asking them, what they thought of them, they were very complimentary. Thought they have good players all over the field, and Deshaun's doing a good job, getting that program going and getting some excitement behind it.
Since he played for Washington part of his career, was he a guy whose career you took notice of at all when he was playing?
I mean, just being a football fan, I took notice. I mean, there's never been anybody in the history of the NFL to have more 60-yard touchdowns than him. He was a hell of a player, and I loved watching him at Cal too. I thought he was just from start to finish, he was an amazing player. And it's great for the game when guys like him get into coaching. It's tough for me when guys like him get into coaching, but it's great for the game.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Jared, how do you feel like you guys performed defensively? You held Iowa to 358, not a huge total. And who did you feel like stood out and played well?
Yeah, I thought we were really physical defensively. When you put on the tape, and I was praising our defense yesterday in our meetings, there wasn't a whole lot of missed tackles by our guys. And if it was a solo opportunity, we pursued the ball so well that the next man was able to get the ball on the ground. They did split us for a couple runs, which, bothered Coach Nessel, but, it's Iowa and they're very athletic and strong. I thought TJ Kamara played a really physical game. At one point, one of the fans was talking crap to him, and they said, "Oh, wait, that's number 7. You're actually really good." And the fans are right on you at Iowa, so you can't get away from them. Cam Stodchill played a good game. Ron Holmes, I thought up front we battled. And then we had a freshman pop in the game where we put Jeremiah Pruitt in there late in the game, and he looked like he was moving at a different pace than some of Iowa's players. So he earned the right to be on the field. And, one of our linebackers, Dylan Donathan, ran and absolutely knocked the crap out of some people in some different circumstances. So I was pleased with our defense. We want to be a team that pursues the ball and tackles, and regardless of what's happening on the play. And I thought we did that.
You touched a little bit about Deshaun Jackson and Delaware State. To Mark, as you prepare for that game, what are some of the keys for your team to have success on Saturday?
We got to protect the ball. We can't give them extra possessions. They did a good job running the ball against Delaware. They got a stable of really good backs, and they block people up pretty well. And then, defensively, same thing. We got to get around the ball and get it on the ground. If we can force some turnovers, I'll feel really good about it. We forced one turnover against Iowa late in the game. But, protect the ball and then take the ball. If we can do that, I feel really good about our chances.
All right, Jared, thanks so much for the time here this morning. Safe travels to Delaware, and look forward to talking again next Monday.
Thanks, guys.